right, so you guys really wanted a deep dive on The Last Stand book.
A Man's Fight for Survival.
Yeah, yeah, by Conrad Riker.
Yeah.
And it seems like something that would really resonate with you guys, especially as you're, digging into all this red pill stuff and you're, trying to figure out those covert contracts in your own marriages.
Yeah, absolutely. And this book really dives into masculinity and the challenges men face today, particularly within, societal structures.
Right, from what I've seen, Riker doesn't hold back.
No, he doesn't. He's not afraid to tackle those controversial topics head on. What I find really interesting is how he sets the stage. He takes us way back, establishes this historical context for male leadership. It might surprise you.
Okay, so not just like back in the day, we're talking ancient history here.
Exactly. He goes all the way back to ancient Greece, the Roman Empire, even the British Empire, and he highlights how men were not just, in positions of power, but how integral they were to leadership and the development of society as a whole.
So it wasn't just about like holding the reins, it was like an expectation, almost like a duty.
Exactly. It was a deeply ingrained expectation. Men were seen as the protectors, the providers, the builders, the ones who kept everything running.
That's interesting. So he's painting a picture of traditional masculinity, but it goes beyond just those stereotypes we hear about.
He's arguing that these roles were vital for the survival and advancement of those society. It wasn't just about being a manly man. It was about fulfilling a crucial role.
I can already see how this ties into like the whole red pill philosophy.
Yeah.
This idea that modern society is trying to suppress these inherent male traits that were once so valued.
Absolutely. He makes that connection very explicit. He argues that the decline of male authority in modern society is directly linked to the dismantling of those traditional roles we were just talking about.
So it's not just like men used to have it good. He's saying there are consequences to this shift.
Exactly. He sees the push for gender equality, while well-intentioned, as having some unintended consequences for men.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys in the red pill community would agree with that. It often feels like men are constantly being told they need to change who they are. Like they're being punished for expressing their natural masculinity.
Riker really taps into that feeling. He's particularly critical of concepts like toxic masculinity, which he sees as a way to pathologize normal male behavior.
Which is, a huge point of contention within the red pill community. It's like, are we supposed to just suppress every instinct we have?
He uses the example of boys being reprimanded for roughhousing, something that's, often seen as inherently aggressive. But he argues that it could also be seen as a natural expression of their physicality and a way to develop important social skills.
Yeah, it's like boys will be boys, right? It's how they learn to interact with each other, to test their limits.
Right. And he questions whether punishing them for that is actually doing them any favors in the long run.
It makes you wonder if that's part of the reason why so many men feel lost and confused about their place in the world today.
It's definitely a contributing factor. And Riker doesn't stop there. He also takes aim at the gender-neutral language movement, which he sees as another attempt to erase the distinctions between men and women.
I think a lot of people would argue that it's about inclusivity.
He acknowledges that. But he also raises the question of whether it's coming at the expense of celebrating what makes men.
It's like, are we trying to create a world where everyone is the same? And is that really a good thing?
That's a question Riker wants us to grapple with. He has this really striking line where he says, pursuit of this elusive equality often results in the oppression of male ambition and achievement.
Whoa, that's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
It definitely challenges the mainstream narrative around gender equality.
It does. And it gets to the heart of what Riker is trying to say. He's not against equality, but he believes it needs to be defined in a way that acknowledges and respects the inherent differences between men and women.
So it's not about saying one gender is superior, it's about recognizing that we bring different strengths and perspectives to the table.
Exactly, and that suppressing those differences isn't beneficial to anyone.
I'm really curious to hear what he has to say about marriage and divorce, especially given that a lot of our listeners are in the married red pill community.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to understand those covert contracts.
Well, Riker doesn't hold back on this one either. He's very critical of the institution of marriage as it exists today, going so far as to call it a perverted system that disproportionately benefits women, particularly in divorce cases.
That's strong language. Does he elaborate on why he sees it that way?
He argues that the legal framework surrounding marriage and divorce often ignores the unique sacrifices men make. He cites things like alimony and child custody rulings that he believes often favor women, even when the man has been a primary provider and involved father.
So he's saying the system is rigged against men.
That's essentially his argument. And he backs it up with some pretty shocking statistics.
Like what? Give us an example.
For example, he points to data showing that mothers are awarded sole custody 82% of the time. That's a huge disparity, and it really feeds into the red pill concerns about bias against men in family court.
Yeah, that's a stat that would definitely raise some eyebrow. Makes you wonder how many men are going into marriages completely unaware of these potential pitfalls.
That's exactly Riker's point. He argues that men are often taught to be providers and protectors, but they're not given the tools to navigate the complexities of the legal system, especially when it comes to family law.
So they're set up to succeed in one area of life, but left totally unprepared for another.
Right. And he believes that understanding those legal realities is crucial for men to protect themselves and their interests.
It sounds like he's laying a pretty solid foundation for his arguments. But I'm curious, how does he bridge that ancient history to the modern married red pill world our listeners are living in, especially in the context of those covert contracts they're trying to understand?
Well, that's where his analysis of modern society gets really interesting. He argues that a lot of the problems men are facing today stem from this decline in male authority that we talked about earlier.
Okay, so he's connecting the dots between the past and the present.
Exactly. He sees a direct line from the dismantling of traditional male roles to the challenges men are facing in their relationships, their careers, and their lives as a whole.
It's like he's saying, we can't understand the present without understanding the past.
Right. And by understanding the past, we can start to see how we got to where we are today, and more importantly, what we can do to change course.
This is all really fascinating. We've covered a lot of ground here, from ancient history to modern legal system, but I know there's a lot more to unpack. Where does Riker take us from here?
Well, he dives deep into this idea of the war on boys, specifically focusing on how it's playing out in the education system, which I know is something a lot of you guys are concerned about as well.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like something's shifted. Like there's less emphasis on what used to be considered traditional male strengths and more focus on things that don't necessarily resonate with boys.
Riker argues that this isn't just a feeling, it's a deliberate trend. He believes that the education system is failing boys on multiple levels, and he doesn't mince words in explaining why.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What does he say?
He argues that things like the feminization of curricula and the lack of male role models are actively disadvantaging boys. For example, he points to Scandinavian countries, which have very intentionally shifted their educational approach to be more feminine, and he argues that the result has been boys falling behind academically.
Wow, that's a pretty bold claim. He's using real-world examples to back up his argument.
He is. And he doesn't shy away from controversy. He wants to spark a conversation to make people think critically about these issues.
It makes you wonder, are we setting boys up for failure by not catering to their unique needs and learning styles?
That's the question Riker is raising. And it's one that I think a lot of parents, especially those in the red pill community, are grappling with today.
Definitely. We've all seen how these trends are playing out in our own families, and it's concerning.
It is. And it's something that Riker believes we need to address head on. He's not just pointing out the problems, he's offering solutions as well.
I'm really eager to dive into those solutions, but I think we'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive. This conversation has already been so insightful. I can't wait to continue exploring Riker's ideas.
Me too. There's a lot more to uncover in The Last Stand, and I think our listeners are going to find it both challenging and empowering.
I agree. It's definitely a book that will make you think and maybe even change the way you see the world.
That's the power of a good book. It can open your mind to new possibilities and give you the courage to challenge the status quo.
And that's what we're all about here, helping you guys navigate the complexities of modern life and find your own path to success and fulfillment.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Well said. We'll be back soon to continue our exploration of The Last Stand. Until then, keep those minds open and those covert contracts in check.
And remember, you're not alone in this. There's a whole community of men out there who are facing the same challenges and supporting each other along the way.
That's right. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
Stay strong, guys, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
All right, take care.
See ya.
And we're back digging deeper into The Last Stand. You know, before we got into that whole war on boys thing and the education system.
Yeah, it's kind of heavy stuff, especially when you think about all the pressures boys face these days.
It really is. And it's something that Riker tackles head on. He dedicates a whole chapter to male vulnerability, which I think is really interesting.
Okay, so not just the man up and suck it up stuff we hear all the time.
Not at all. He actually argues that kind of thinking that men need to be stoic and emotionally closed off is actually doing more harm than good.
So he's saying it's okay for men to actually, have feeling.
Yeah, he is. He acknowledges that stoicism can be a valuable tool, but it needs to be balanced with healthy emotional expression. It's not about denying your feelings. It's about learning how to process them in a healthy way.
That makes sense. I mean, bottling things up never really works out in the long run, does it?
Nope, it usually just leads to resentment, frustration, and ultimately a breakdown in communication, which can be really damaging in relationships.
It makes you wonder if that's part of the reason why divorce rates are so high. If men aren't able to communicate their needs effectively, it's no wonder relationships fall apart.
Riker seems to think that's a big part of the problem. He encourages men to find that balance between strength and vulnerability, recognizing that true strength comes from being able to embrace all aspects of yourself, not just the tough guy persona.
Yeah, I mean, we're all human rights. We all have emotions. It's what makes us us.
Exactly. And denying those emotions doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you less authentic, less whole.
It's like he's saying it's okay to be a man and still be in touch with your feelings.
He encourages men to be more open and honest about their emotion, not just with their partner, but with themselves as well.
And that ties in so well with the whole covert contract concept, right? If you're not even aware of your own needs, how can you expect your partner to meet them?
You can't. It all starts with self-awareness and understanding the expectations you're bringing into the relationship, even the ones you might not be consciously aware of.
It's like you have to know yourself before you can truly connect with someone else.
Exactly. And that's a journey that a lot of men, especially those who've been raised with those traditional ideas about masculinity, are just beginning to embark on.
This is so insightful. It feels like we're peeling back layers of societal conditioning and getting to the core of what it means to be a man in today's world. It's not just about being tough and stoic. It's about being whole, authentic, and in touch with your emotions.
It is. And it's about finding that balance between strength and vulnerability, between independence and interdependence, between leading and following. It's not about rejecting masculinity. It's about redefining it for the 21st century.
I love that redefining masculinity. It's not about going back to the old ways. It's about creating something new, something that honors the best of what it means to be a man, while also embracing the complexities and challenges of modern life.
Exactly. And that's what Riker is trying to do with The Last Stand. He's not just offering a critique, he's offering a vision for a better future for men, for women, for society as a whole.
It's inspiring, really. It gives me hope that maybe we can actually change things, that we can create a world where men can be their true selves without shame or judgment.
We can, but it's going to take a conscious effort from both men and women to challenge the status quo and create a more equitable and fulfilling world for everyone.
Well said. Now, I know we touched on the idea of male spaces earlier and how Riker sees them as being under attack from this push for forced inclusion. I'm really interested to hear more about his arguments on that front.
He's very passionate about this topic. He argues that these male-only spaces are crucial for fostering masculinity and camaraderie, providing a safe space for men to be themselves without judgment, to let their guard down, and to connect with each other on a deeper level.
I can definitely see the value in that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about being around other men sharing stories and just being able to be yourself that's really powerful.
It is. And Riker believes that these spaces are essential for men to develop a strong sense of identity, something that he sees as being eroded by the constant pressure to conform to a more feminized ideal.
So it's not just about hanging out with the guys, it's about something deeper, something more essential to the male experience.
Exactly. He uses the analogy of a blacksmith forging a sword. He says that just like a sword needs heat and pressure to be shaped into a strong and durable weapon, men need these male-only spaces to forge their own identities and develop their potential.
That's a great analogy. It really captures the essence of what he's saying. It's not about excluding women. It's about creating a space where men can be men without feeling the need to apologize for it.
Right. It's about recognizing that men and women have different needs, and that those needs can sometimes be best met in separate spaces.
It's like we can still appreciate and value each other even if we don't always do everything together.
Exactly. It's about finding a balance, a way to honor our differences, while also working together to create a better world.
I know this is a touchy subject, but does Riker address the argument that these male-only spaces are exclusionary and discriminatory?
It does. And he doesn't shy away from the controversy. He argues that these spaces were created for a reason, to provide a place for men to bond and connect in ways that might not be possible in mixed gender settings. He compares it to women's spaces like book clubs or support groups, which are generally accepted as being beneficial and necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? It's not about hating the other gender. It's about recognizing the value of having a space where you can be yourself without feeling judged or having to filter your thoughts.
Exactly. And Riker believes that men need these spaces just as much as women do. He argues that trying to force them to become more inclusive is actually doing more harm than good.
It's almost like we're being told to be ashamed of our masculinity to apologize for it.
And Riker is pushing back against that shame. He's saying that there's nothing wrong with being a man, that masculinity is something to be celebrated, not suppressed. He believes that these spaces are vital for men to develop a healthy sense of self and to connect with each other in meaningful ways.
That's a message that I think a lot of men need to hear. We're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us to be different, to be less, to apologize for who we are. It's refreshing to hear someone say, hey, it's okay to be a man. Embrace it. Celebrate it.
And that's what Riker is doing with The Last Stand. He's challenging the status quo, he's pushing back against the negative narrative, And he's offering a vision for a future where men can be their true selves without shame or apology.
It's empowering, really. It gives men permission to be who they are and to fight for a world where they can thrive.
It does, and that's a powerful message, one that I think will resonate with a lot of men who are feeling lost, confused, and disempowered.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, from male vulnerability to male space. It's clear that Riker is tackling some really important, timely issues. What else does he dive into in The Last Stand?
Well, he doesn't shy away from criticizing the media either. He sees a trend of men being portrayed in a very negative light, often as bumbling idiots, violent brutes, or emotionally unavailable workaholic. He argues that these portrayals are not only inaccurate, but they're also damaging, contributing to negative stereotypes and low self-esteem among men.
It's funny you mention that, because those are the exact stereotypes that the red pill community often points to as evidence of the feminization of media. It's like they're trying to emasculate men by making them look ridiculous or dangerous.
That's the exact argument Riker makes. He sees these portrayals as a deliberate attempt to undermine traditional masculinity and make men question their own worth. He calls it a form of cultural castration.
Wow, that's a pretty strong term. But I can see where he's coming from. It's like if you're constantly being bombarded with messages that tell you you're inadequate, eventually you start to believe it.
Right, and that's what Riker is concerned about. He believes that these negative portrayals are having a real impact on men's mental and emotional health. He calls for a shift in these narratives, advocating for more positive and empowering representations of men in the media.
So it's not just about complaining about the problem, it's about offering solutions. What does he suggest men do to combat these negative portrayals?
He encourages men to be more discerning about the media they consume, to seek out alternative sources of information and entertainment that present a more balanced view of masculinity. He also encourages men to create their own content, to tell their own story, and to challenge the dominant narratives that are being pushed by the mainstream media.
So it's about taking control of your own narrative, not letting the media define you.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming your power, your voice, and your story.
That's a powerful message. It's about recognizing that we have a choice. We can either passively consume the media that's being fed to us, or we can actively seek out content that aligns with our values and beliefs.
We can create our own content that reflects the diversity and complexity of the male experience, content that inspires, empowers, and uplifts.
I love that. It's about taking back our power and using it to create something better, something more authentic, something that truly reflects who we are.
And that's what Riker is all about. He's not just a critic, he's a visionary. He sees a better future for men, and he's offering a roadmap for how to get there.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening. It's given me a whole new perspective on the challenges men are facing and the solutions that are available to us. Riker's book is definitely a must-read for any man who's feeling lost, confused, or disempowered.
Absolutely. It's a powerful and thought-provoking book that will challenge your assumptions, expand your horizon, and inspire you to take action. Highly recommend it.
We're back, and man, The Last Stand book, it's really got me thinking. You know, we talked about all this stuff, societal structures, media, those covert contracts.
Yeah, Riker covers a lot. But what strikes me is he doesn't leave you feeling hopeless. Like, he ends with this call to action. Men need to fight back against all this stuff, reclaim their masculinity.
I like that, because it'd be easy to just feel defeated, right, with all these challenges he lays out. So what's he actually suggesting men do? What does this fight even look like?
Well, a big part of it is strength. But he's not just saying hit the gym, though, that IS part of it. He's talking about mental strength, too. Resilience, not giving up easily, being able to handle whatever life throws at you.
Okay, so like that stoic ideal we talked about before. But I thought he said men shouldn't just be robots with no feelings.
Right, it's both stoicism, PET, done right. It's not denying your emotions, it's mastering them.
Like
having that inner strength to make good decisions, even when things are tough.
So, not letting your emotions run wild, but being in control. It reminds me of how Riker talked about those traditional male roles. Like, throughout history, men were the ones who had to stay calm in a crisis.
That's the connection he's making. Men have always been the protectors, providers, the ones who don't panic when everything's going wrong. He thinks that kind of strength is vital even today.
And that fits with the whole red pill thing too, right? Men stepping up, taking charge.
Yeah.
Riker's on the same page there.
Totally. He wants men to feel that sense of purpose again. And part of it is physical strength, he says.
Wait, seriously. There's a whole section on, like, working out. That seems a little, I don't know, basic, doesn't it?
He's not saying it's the answer, but he does think that modern life, all the tech and sitting around, it's made men soft. Literally, they've lost touch with that primal side.
So it's more than just looking good at the beach, then.
Way more confident. Physical strength builds confidence, makes you tougher mentally. He even says it teaches discipline, which helps in every part of life.
Okay, I'm starting to see his point. When you feel weak, it's harder to stand up for yourself, set boundaries, especially in those covert contract situations.
Exactly. And it all goes back to the war on boys, too. If they're raised without that toughness, how will they handle things as men?
It's like one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
So to break free, got to go back to basics. Literally rebuild that masculine strength.
Riker's a big fan of weightlifting, martial arts, anything that pushes you physically and mentally.
Not just showing up at the gym, then? It's got to be challenging, right?
He wants men to feel that sense of achievement. I conquered this. That builds self-worth, makes you believe in yourself.
Makes sense. When you feel strong, you act strong. So it's not just muscles, it's the mindset, too.
Totally. Mental, emotional, physical, it all works together. He calls it the inner warrior, that unshakable part of you.
I like that. This whole deep dive, it's like Riker's giving guys permission to be strong again. Assertive, masculine, without feeling bad about it.
And he gives you the how-to, even in a world where that's not always welcome.
Makes you realize we have a choice, right? Give in to all the pressure or stand up, fight back, and make things better for ourselves. And the guy's coming after us.
It's hopeful, you know. A lot of men feel lost, but this shows them a way forward.
Man, I've learned a lot today. This is the Last Stand book. It's powerful stuff. Anyone feeling lost, I'd say check it out. It's on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
Definitely worth a read.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time.